Welcome back. Congress is back and busy. They had Russ Vought testifying before them yesterday at the House Budget Committee. He was asked about funding for the war in Iran. Listen to what he said.
What are you all asking for in order to fund the war in Iran? How much will you be asking?
We're not ready to come to you with a request. We're still working on it. We're working through to figure out what's needed in this fiscal year versus next fiscal year.
Do you have a ballpark?
I don't have a ballpark.
Will it be more than $50 billion?
I don't have a ballpark for you.
It's one of the big questions on the Hill. What is the supplemental funding going to look like? But Vought's testimony yesterday focused on President Trump's fiscal 2027 budget request, which calls for $1.5 trillion in defense spending. Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, as they call it, also took center stage. Progressive lawmakers pressing Vought over concerns that provisions in the bill affecting the Affordable Care Act marketplace might drive up the number of uninsured Americans. Watch.
1 in 6, that's 17%, returning ACA marketplace enrollees say they are not confident that they will be able to afford their premiums this year. Does that make Americans stronger and more prosperous?
It certainly makes it more prosperous to have a health care system that ensures that
okay, so you're okay with all these Americans not being able to afford their health care premiums?
Want to bring in Democratic Congresswoman Becca Balint of Vermont. She is on that House Budget Committee and was part of the hearing yesterday. She's also the vice-ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee. We'll focus on budget, though, for now, because you had this big hearing with Russ Vought yesterday. He'll be testifying on the Senate side today. Interested to hear if they get any different answers or even a ballpark figure on the Iran war cost. But your focus with him was really on the holistic spending goals of this administration and what you think they say about an administration's priorities.
Absolutely. And so I don't think you could talk to any member on my side of the aisle, and I imagine all the Republicans as well. We're all hearing the same thing from constituents. They can't afford to live right now. They can't afford their car payment. They can't afford their mortgage or their rent. They can't afford health care. And so then you have Russ Vought coming before the Budget Committee and essentially saying we need to supersize the Pentagon budget. We need to continue to fund this war of choice. And one of the things that I said to him is, look, you could take $350 billion that you are asking for additional funding for the war right now in Iran. You could fund the ACA tax credits for Americans for 10 years, a full decade, right? So it is a statement of values. It is a statement of priorities. And it's clear that they are not at all interested in helping the American people right now with their day-to-day struggles.
One of the ways that they would say they're doing that is through the tax cuts bill that they passed. I want to, again, point out the tax cuts were not new. They were just simply extended. But there are Americans who say that their tax refunds look better than they have in the past. And I wonder what you would say to them.
So, look, you had, while we were debating that in the Budget Committee, you had promises made to the American people that, you know, the average family would get, a middle-class family, around $1,000. Okay, which is significant money, right? When you factor in all of the additional costs due to tariffs, okay, when you factor in the additional costs due to the war in Iran and the driving up of fuel prices, that's going to come out to just a couple $100 for an entire year. That is not going to feel, you know, substantially better for most families. And look, this has always been an administration focused on the very top of the income brackets. And what I hear, here's a perfect example, Allie. I was doing a town hall. Someone came up to me afterwards. She said, I am a psychologist. She said, I have an advanced degree. I have a good job. She said, I can't make the math work. And so when he comes in and there is no acknowledgement at all about the struggles of regular people, I feel like this administration is completely out of touch with what most people are struggling with right now.
I think the other thing that I'm looking at on Capitol Hill, as we hear from Russ Vought, this is a week of many hearings and testimonies. Of course, the midterms looms over all of it. But the other piece of it, too, is what's going on with the Department of Homeland Security and the fact that it is still shut down. There is this plan by Republicans to do a parallel track effort to reopen DHS while also doing this partisan budget process called reconciliation. That lands squarely at the Budget Committee as well. Do you have any sense of the timeline? This is going to happen really fast.
Yeah, no, we don't. We don't have any sense of the timeline. It's a black box, as this administration often is. The Speaker also is very covetous with any kind of information of what we can anticipate. And I just want to remind you that when we have a situation that we find ourselves in right now, that DHS is still still shut down. I just want to remind people there was a bipartisan agreement to open up DHS, and the speaker walked away from it. So I just want people to understand there are times when Democrats and Republicans come together. If he had brought it to the floor, we wouldn't be in this. We wouldn't be heading towards reconciliation to try to open up DHS. It would be done.
Do you get the sense that there are other priorities that will get stuffed into reconciliation? And what are the ones that you are looking out for?
Yeah, so look, this is always what happens in any reconciliation process.
Yes.
This is the least transparent, essentially, maneuver that happens.
That both parties have used.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. And I think that is one of the things that makes Americans very distrustful about government. It feels like things are happening to them that they are not aware of. And so, look, this administration, with this Speaker of the House, they are constantly shoving in to all their bills, all their riders, things that beat up on women who are, wanting to have reproductive care. They're beating up on trans people in this country. Like, it's all the same things that they include, these negative riders that they're going to try to get passed through to essentially punish, groups of people in this country that they don't agree with.
At the same time, Republicans seeing them as base energizers, and we'll ultimately see.
And I think they're missing the mark on that. I think that's run its course.
We're going to see, actually. I'm interested in testing that theory because what was salient in 2024, in many cases, seems like now issues that Republicans have to figure out, okay, how do I strategize around it? The economy, immigration, potentially trans issues.
Yes.
I think it's going to be an interesting lesson to learn however we learn it come November. Democratic Congresswoman Becca Balint of Vermont, thank you for coming on.